Yes, good afternoon,
Yes.
everyone. Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Dr. Shuman Chakraborty from India, and today is the 10th lecture of our lecture series on historical development of anthropology as a discipline in Asia. And for this today's program, I would like to invite Professor AKM Mazharul Islam from Bangladesh, and I would like to share this platform to Dr. Ratna Tang for the moderation. Dr. Ratna, you can proceed.
Yes, thank you, Suman sir, and thank you all for joining us today. I am Dr. Ratna Tang, Assistant Professor and Head Department of Anthropology, Dera Natung Government College, Itanagar, Arunachal Pradesh. And on behalf of the Department of Anthropology, Dera Natung Government College, Itanagar, Arunachal Pradesh, Mrinalini Datta Mahavidyapith, Bharati, West Bengal, India, and the University of Sri Jayewardenepura, Sri Lanka, extend a very warm welcome to this 10th lecture of our international lecture series on historical development of anthropology as a discipline in Asia. Now, I like to request Dr. Susmita Chen Chaudhary, ma'am, to give the welcome address.
Thank you, Dr. Tayan. Yes, a very good afternoon to everyone. I, Dr. Susmita Chaudhary, I belong to Mrinalini Mahavidyapith as an Assistant Professor of Anthropology. On behalf of the organizing committee, I welcome you all in this in the Sunday evening for joining us today for this webinar or the lecture series, which is going on for several months. And first of all, we are very happy to welcome Professor AKM Mazharul Islam sir, Professor of Department of Anthropology from Shahjalal University of Science and Technology, Sylhet, Bangladesh, who has agreed to deliver the 10th lecture of this series today. We welcome all the faculty members of the organizing committee, Professor Dr. Tharaka Ananda from USJ Sri Lanka, and Dr. Shuman Chakraborty from Mrinalini Mahavidyapith, Dr. Ratna Tayang from Dera Government College, Arunachal Pradesh, and all the faculty members of our college, Mrinalini Mahavidyapith, Pushpalata Tigga, Dr. Pushpalata Tigga, Srimati Shashwati Roy, Srimati Dhanasri Polle, and all other delegates, especially Dr. A.R. Sankayan, who has joined us today. We are very happy to welcome you, sir. And some of the delegates from Bangladesh, like we have already talking to Sarah. So we welcome you all, and all the students and faculties and researchers from all around the world, especially from Bangladesh, India, Arunachal Pradesh, and Bengal. So we welcome you, heartiest welcome from our end to you. Please stay tuned with us. Thank you. And over to Ratna.
Thank you, ma'am. And now, without further delay, now let me take the privilege to introduce our today's speaker very briefly. Our today's speaker is Professor AKM Mazharul Islam. He is currently a professor of anthropology at Shahjalal University of Science and Technology, Bangladesh. He has been educated in the Dhaka University, Minnesota State University, and John Hopkins University. He has been a chair of anthropology department at Shahjalal University of Science and Technology for 12 years. He was also a part-time professor in the Department of Anthropology at Dhaka University and a visiting professor in Society and Health Department at Mahidol University, Thailand. He worked as a principal and co-principal investigator in a numbers of national and international project funded and administered by UNICEF, UNDP, BRAC, ICDDR, and University Grant Commission. He published 35 articles in national and international journals and published as many as 18 books. He is a member of American Anthropological Association, Society of Medical Anthropology, and Asiatic Society of Bangladesh. It's a great pleasure to welcome you, sir. I now welcome Professor Mazharul Islam, sir, to share his thoughts and wisdom. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Dayang, And thank you, everyone. I know it's a Sunday afternoon. It's in Bangladesh, we call it in Bangla, we call it bhat gum. This is a sleep after having rice at the in the in the lunch. So you sacrificed all that sleep of the holiday, and I really feel honored and privileged to be here today. Although I did not get a chance to visit Mrinalini College in Kolkata, but I had a privilege to visit Itanagar, Arunachal, once in Rajiv Gandhi University. Itanagar is not that unfamiliar to me. And I also know Tharaka for almost a year, I guess. And so I know a couple of other members whom I can see here. And welcome everyone. I would not give a kind of a very formal kind of a purview of the historical development of anthropology in Bangladesh. Rather, I'll try to make it a very informal kind of a narrative or a storytelling manner, so that we can have a conversation. And part of the history can also related to the post-colonial history, which I mean pre-colonial history, where the history of anthropology in India and Pakistan may get along with this same stream, because we shared the same identity and territory before 1947. So as you know, that anthropology formally started not very it's fairly a recent discipline in Bangladesh, but this anthropological orientation or anthropological tradition or anthropological write-up started long before, even in the pre-colonial stage. Probably you have heard about one terminology which is called proto-anthropological or near-anthropological writings, which is, this terminology is used by Erickson and Nelson. They use this, that there is something which is not entirely anthropological.
I think, say you're mute. Kindly unmute yourself.
I don't know how I can.
Yes.
Yeah, it was just automatically done. I had no clue.
Yes.
Anyways, thank you. This proto-anthropological or nearly anthropological literature get back from 1500s, AD, in this part of the world, where we found kind of travelogues and other narratives where there were some anthropological components. For example, if you see Hayden's writing in 1675, where Hayden was writing some of the accounts of this part of the world, and also Pierre Barnier also wrote a kind of a wonderful travelogue on the accounts of this part of the world in 1916. So these are not entirely anthropological works, but those works gave kind of an impetus for the anthropological researchers later on in the post-colonial period. So anthropological study basically started in this country, in Bangladesh, or you can call it East Pakistan, in 1957, where the Department of Sociology was started in Dhaka University. And this was probably you have heard it or not, I don't know, that Claude Lévi-Strauss, a famous French anthropologist, he came to Bangladesh and visited Chittagong Hill Tracts. And when he came back from Chittagong Hill Tracts, in a discussion in Dhaka, he said several things, which was quoted by Professor Nazmul Karim, who is one of the founding father of sociology.
अपने डस्टबिन में डालना, ठीक है ना?
I
He
think
was one
yes,
of the.
yes. Professor Sankan, kindly mute it. Yes, you can continue.
So Professor Nazmul Karim was one of the founding members of the sociology department in Dhaka University. He wrote one thing about Professor Levi-Strauss's visit in Bangladesh. I'm just reading a couple of quotes from his write-ups. I mean, from Professor Nazmul Karim's write-up. He said, he means Professor Levi-Strauss was so much impressed by the pristine and unfurnished primeval condition of the tribesmen, such as the Mugs and the Murongs, that at a gathering of the intellectuals at Dhaka, he, in his enthusiasm, exclaimed, "Bangladesh is a veritable place for social anthropologists." On his return to Paris, he continued to take active interest in the development of social sciences in Bangladesh and began to send series of scholars for the study of the tribal life as well as to help the teaching and research in social sciences in Bangladesh. So it is 1957 where UNESCO, with the UNESCO's help, the Dhaka University hosted a department called Department of Sociology. And that has given a formal kind of a platform to do certain anthropological study under the banner of Department of Sociology. And they offered courses on social anthropology, and they had got several master's, MPhil, and PhD works under sociology department, which were themed on anthropological issues. So, so anthropology here has some depth to admit for sociology department in Bangladesh, because they are the one who gave a kind of a formal platform to have some anthropological studies, particularly social anthropological studies in Bangladesh. So if we go after that, we have got some linguistic studies here and done by some of the foreign anthropologists. Before going to that discussion, let me give a kind of a little more information about the sociology department in Dhaka University, which was founded by Pierre Bressainet, another French anthropologist. So that Bressainet, Levi-Strauss, and Professor Nazmul Karim, who was a student of Baltimore in the London University, they were the three persons who actually, although professor of sociology, I mean, Levi-Strauss himself was an anthropologist, but Pierre Bressainet was kind of and Nazmul Karim was kind of a sociologist, but they, being sociologists, they were kind of advocating for anthropology. They were just, particularly Professor Nazmul Karim worked on the Muslim caste system in Bengal, and he was advocating that in Bangladesh, sociology should be social anthropology for some time. So to some time to come. So these were the, I mean, kind of a ice-breaking events for the anthropological researches in Bangladesh. So it is basically, if you see the formal kind of a research and study, this is 1957 under the banner of sociology department. But as I said, but there are some proto-anthropological work done by the geographers, travelers, and others. So, so if we now see what happens next, there were another institute which was done, which was established in the University of Rajshahi. That's another part of the country. The name of the institute is called Institute of Bangladesh Studies, IBS. And in IBS, UNESCO sent a couple of scholars to be based in IBS at Rajshahi universities. One of those were Peter Bartusi. He came here, I mean, just after independence, and although he started his work before independence, and then some other anthropologists like Jean Elixon, and then Joanna Kirkpatrick, and then Clarence Maloney. All those famous anthropologists, they came and based in IBS in Russia University, and they pursued PhD researches for themselves. For example, I mean, both Jean Elixon and Peter Bardusi did their PhD work in Bangladesh near Kumilla district, and Joanna Kirkpatrick, she also did her work with the rickshaw art of Bangladesh, and then Clarence Maloney also did some work from the linguistic anthropology. So they themselves, I mean, pursued their higher studies in Bangladesh, and then after that they also supervised couple of anthropologists in this country. For example, Clarence Maloney supervised K.M. Aziz, who later on became another famous anthropologist in Bangladesh and wrote that famous book Kinship in Bangladesh and Beliefs and Fertility in Bengal. So K.M. Aziz was a student of Peter Bartusi, I mean Clarence Maloney. And Clarence Maloney did his field work in Bangladesh, but then he supervised a couple of other anthropologists like K.M. Aziz. So these were some of the stories of anthropological tradition in Bangladesh, where IBS play a very critical role in the spread and development of anthropological tradition in Bangladesh. So you see that so two things are important. One is the deeper establishment of Department of Sociology in 1957, and then the establishment of IBS in Russian University, where a couple of anthropologists from different countries, they came as a UNESCO fellow and did their own work and then supervised the other group of local anthropologists. So this is the way anthropological tradition were made. And then in 1986, there was a department called Department of Anthropology for the first time in Bangladesh, which was established in the University of Jahangirnagar. That's near Dhaka. That's the place of the name of the place is Savar. That's not very far from Dhaka. Jahangirnagar University was the first anthropology department. They hosted the first anthropology department in 1985 and 86. They have the and then you see after some years, Dhaka University started anthropology department in 1992. And then in 1995, Shahjalal University of Science and Technology started anthropology program in 1995. And then in Chittagong University and Rajshahi University, the anthropology department came into establishment in 1996. And then on, we have got another two departments. One is in Kumilla University, and then again another department in Jagannath University. So we have got 7 public universities that hosted anthropology departments, and they actually produced. We have counted that every year those 7 universities, and there are some private universities who actually also offer non-degree anthropology program with non-major way. I mean, say for example, they offer anthropology to some other disciplines. But nowadays there are independent program as well. For example, Bragg University and IUB, Independent University Bangladesh, they also offer separate anthropology program. So we have got basically 9 separate anthropology program in this country, and there are some non-degree programs. So we have calculated on an average, we produce 500 students every year from the discipline of anthropology. So I know it's much lesser than India. India has got a huge kind of a paraphernalia of universities where they produce so many anthropologists every year, but anthropology graduates every year. But in Bangladesh, it's about 500 graduates that we produce every single year. So this is in brief, a formal kind of a structure of anthropology in Bangladesh. But we have got some other organizations where anthropology is being practiced as an applied platform. I mean, there are few NGOs and research organizations who actually hosted anthropology or qualitative research, and anthropology graduates were employed there, and they also catered anthropological tradition in this country. For example, BRAC has probably you have heard about BRAC. It's the largest NGO in the world right now, and its founder Fazil Hassan Abed once said that the top 5 NGOs in the world, all those are headquartered in Washington DC, and the number 1, who is the largest NGO, they are headquartered in Mohakali, Dhaka. So BRAC has got huge kind of, this is the largest NGO in the world right now, and they had got a huge network globally. So BRAC now also established its own university. It's called BRAC University. But within the research wing in BRAC, anthropological research has been done for so many long years. Another organization is ICDDRB, which is called International Center for Diarrheal Disease and Research. They also hosted so many qualitative research where anthropologists have been hired. For example, I have already mentioned about KMA Aziz, who wrote Kinship in Bangladesh and Beliefs and Fertility in Bengal. He has been a staff anthropologist in ICDDRB for so many long years, 35 years. So there are some opportunities for anthropological work in Bangladesh, and that has given a kind of a anthropological tradition in this country, where the graduates can have some work to do to utilize their knowledge and expertise that they have learned from the universities. And also, if you think about some of the other applied opportunities where we have a Bangladesh Academy for Rural Development, we call it BARD, and another is called RDA, that is the Rural Development Academy. And there are a couple of national, international NGOs who actually hosting anthropology graduates for so many long years. And of course, university also provides some of the anthropologists as professors. So these are some of the opportunities for the anthropologists in Bangladesh. But the way we produce anthropologists in this country, we cannot provide jobs for all the graduates. That's another concern that we're facing nowadays. And if we see what actually we do, what study that we have done so far during, if you say, the 50 years of anthropological tradition in Bangladesh, we actually did village study mostly, and study of the rural social structure, study on power structure, studies on social stratification, land tenure systems, agrarian structure, and of course kinship systems, and some of the studies on kinship. So these are the key areas where anthropological researches have been done. And another area is agriculture, and we have one organization which is called BARC, Bangladesh Agricultural Research Council. They also do some of the, for example, Wallace, anthropologist Wallace was here for 30 plus years and did some of the applied anthropological work in Bangladesh. And we also know about Theresa Bloche, who has been working here for since 1972. So we have got some dedicated anthropologists from other nationals apart from Bangladeshi origin. And you see there are hundreds of anthropological works that has been done mostly by the faculty members of those 10, 12 universities that we have already mentioned. And we have got, as I said, there are a couple of other organizations, for example, BARD, RDA, BRAC, ICDDRB. Many of the faculty members or the scientists or the social scientists working there, they did their PhD work in anthropological issues. So these are, in brief, the history of anthropology in Bangladesh, since we are fairly a recent program. As I said, it's just formally started in 1986. So I could really make it that brief, because this is a brief history. But as I already told, that it's if you see the tradition, it's way back. I mean, it started from pre-colonial travelogues and all other stuffs. So I think I'm pretty done what I really wanted to say. But if you ask me, I can go further. I mean, so I think this is in brief the story of anthropology in Bangladesh. And as you understand that, as I mentioned it earlier, that it is being shaped, but focus, as I should also mention it here, that all we do is basically social anthropological stuff. I know in India there is a focus on physical anthro as well, and some of the archaeological anthropology and linguistic anthropology stream is working in many other countries in Asia. But for Bangladesh, it is basically social anthropology or sociocultural anthropology that we have been practiced so far. So with this, I will stop now. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Mazharul Islam. Ratna, you can take the questions from the audience, and then
right.
I will discuss, right?
Right. Now the session is open for discussion. If any one of you have any queries, any doubts, you can unmute yourself and directly speak to our resource person.
Sir, actually, I don't have a question. Actually, I wanted to know, you were talking about village study and studies on power structure, which has been done in Bangladesh. So I wanted to know who did such kind of studies and where was it done. So actually, if there is any book regarding this subject.
Yes, of course. I mean, if you start with the elusive village from Peter Bartzi, he actually worked on this class system and power structure. He has come up with the interesting thing which called cyclical kulakism, a kind of a theory he developed, and then Westergaard, and then even Van Chanel worked in some of the power structure in this country. Zehadul Karim did his PhD on the village faction politics, and there are kind of Bangladesh village study done by Anurullah Chaudhry, HKS Arifin, and you name it. There are some other the most studies that has been done in this country. They call it My Village. I mean, they lived there for a certain period of time, and then they had that intensive field work, and they have come up with the ethnography or the book. So as I mentioned, it's Peter Bartzi, Jean Ellickson, then Westergaard, Anurullah Chaudhry, HKS Arifin, and even Ahrens and Boerden, if you also consider that Jayewardenepura is an ethnography. So Ahrens and Boerden is another. They were the Dutch couple who worked here. And if you want, I guess these are some of the important works done in the village study of Bangladesh. And of course, Shopanadnan did some work in Chittagong Hill Tracts area where he see the peasant movement and peasant mobilization there from a Marxian perspective. So these are some of the important works done on the village studies in this country.
Right. And as you said that there is works on peasant movement, I think there is materials I have found regarding Tevaga movement, because Tevaga was started in the Dinajpur area, and there are materials on this also.
Right. Of course. Tevaga movement is one of the most important area of discussion where the peasant movement has started, and then this total scenario of the structure of the peasantry in this country has shaped and reshaped by this movement.
Right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? So anyway, sir, thanks for your wonderful and brief talk regarding the short history of Bangladesh anthropology. And
because our history is short.
Yes, obviously short in the one sense, but the very quality work we have been done throughout the Bangladesh for a short period of time. Now, my question is, what is your future vision for Bangladesh, for anthropology and their development?
Thank you, Shuman. This is one important question that you have asked. We tried to understand village, particularly because it was predominantly a village society then, but the society has transformed over the years, and it has changed in many ways. So there are a few urban studies as well, and we all wanted to see the nature of change in the society. So you see, we have got two big opportunity for Bangladesh, which actually led the recent growth of economy in Bangladesh. One is the remittance that comes from all kinds of region of the world, the Bangladeshi workers, the Middle East and the other Far East, and you name it, they are in many countries nowadays, and of course in Europe as well. They send their hard-earned remittance to this country, and those are kinds of the drive forces that makes this economy really running well. Despite even in the pandemic, Bangladesh growth is quite it's a miracle in many of the observers said that it's really a miracle how despite pandemic it is our GDP and GNP is running all right. And then another is garment, and the garment workers is huge. There are almost 2 million workers here who work day and night to make it this is another area where the economy comes in Bangladesh. So these two areas we don't have much anthropological work, so we need to see their life and how these things are how, because they are two sectors which is so important. So we need to know their things, what's going on their life. So and another thing that anthropological research sometimes is fund driven. That's another interesting that's probably true for many countries. So where there is a fund, people want to work because they need some fund to do some work. So you see, so some of the work on health, family planning has been done, but the structure, the institutional or organizational study is something that we miss. I mean, this, for example, say we know the maternal mortality uh, is reducing and how it's being reduced. Who are the actors and pro-actors for that? But how a hospital works, how an institution works, there's some lack of institutional study. Although, of course, there are a couple of studies like Shadu Zaman and others has done some hospital ethnography, but we need more institutional study. And another important area is, I should say, development, because Bangladesh is a, people say it's a unique case of development, but in anthropology, we want to see it from a critical perspective. I mean, we need to see development from different dimensions, both from the hardware and software kind of a angle. So I think so those four areas, this one is the government industry, how it runs, and what are the backward and forward linkage, and what were the people. I mean, bottom line is the people who are moving this industry, and then and the remittance earners, their life both in that part of the world and back home. I mean diaspora study and all that. And number three is institutional study. And number four, what I said, just number four is I don't know what I said about number four. I mean, those are important area where anthropological study need to concentrate. And then we'll have a, more of anthropological I mean, that's, as you understand, that we need to represent the societal kind of a picture that goes in the society. So it's only custody, or only village study, and only ethnic community study will not represent the real picture of the society's reality that is going on. So we need to also incorporate all those areas where anthropology can be hugely important.
Before our further discussion, it is wonderful things just happened, that it is a wonderful privilege that Professor P.C. Joshi, one of the eminent anthropologists in India, and for us, he is the father of modern anthropology in India. Welcome, sir. He just joined here, and we are extremely happy. I don't know.
Thank you. I've just come to listen.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Anyway, Professor Mazharul Islam, just we are talking about the future vision of anthropology in Bangladesh. Now, I am wondering that whether you are thinking about the integrated four-field approach of anthropology in Bangladesh in the near future.
Yeah, thank you. This is another very important issue that you have put into the table, because as I already mentioned, that all we do is sociocultural anthropology in Bangladesh, and all those other three branches, we don't have, frankly speaking, we don't have much of manpower, resource persons on those area. And since there is no resource person, new anthropologists are not interested. So it's kind of a cycle that's going on. So we need to break this cycle, and we are really trying to encourage some of our students and colleagues to pursue their higher education and pursue their endeavors towards all those directions: archaeological anthropology, linguistic anthropology, and of course physical or biological anthropology. But as of now, as I said, that it's basically sociocultural anthropological tradition in Bangladesh. But of course, we are kind of keen on doing this four-field approach, because we understand that to understand the Homo sapien and Homo sapiens spaces and societies. It's not possible only to see um, um, just from a socio-cultural angle. We need all those three angles as well. So for a solid foundation of an undergrad level particularly, we need all those four branches to have a solid foundation in anthropology.
Thank you. My next question of discussion is just you have done exceptional job during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, what was the role in the initial stage of anthropologists in Bangladesh in terms of the COVID-19? So, what was their role? Whether they are only studying the people or involving their activities into the academics, or government are giving chance to interact with the planners along with the anthropologists in your country.
Thank you. As you know, like many other countries, social sciences are not very prominent in the it's not in the first drawer. I mean, it's in the last drawer actually, as a matter of fact. I mean, particularly in when it pandemic started, people were like many other countries in Bangladesh, the policymakers thought that it is a problem of the biomedical doctors. I mean, this is a disease, so the doctors need medical scientists, they need to be in the table, and they will do their job. But when it comes to a pandemic, you see that there are a lot of stakeholders who needs to be, it's a societal problem, so society needs to be engaged. So they started realizing it, and but as a matter of fact, we have got a huge I mean, probably it's around 100 membered committee that has been made nationally. There were no social scientists, unfortunately, at the first place. So this is a scenario that happens in many countries in the world. I know they thought that is a soft thing. I mean, they, if one or two members are there from social sciences, that's okay. But if they are not, that's not a big problem. So this attitude needs to be changed, and who will change this? We need to change it. I mean, we need to see that we need to talk. We need to tell the policymakers that, look, we also have some role to play. As you have seen that in Ebola cases, anthropologists played a very important role. And so I was just, as you mentioned, that I thought that since everybody was ignoring social sciences, so it is us who need to raise some voice. So I started that webinar series, and we, as you know, that we did as many as almost 300 webinars to tell people that, see, you need to also hear about social science. And we have, because you see, it is a societal problem. Since how you deal with the stigma, how we deal with the access to the people, how we deal with the all kinds of stereotypical and unlearning all those superstitions. So we need to be there to work with the medical doctors and other public health specialists, epidemiologists, and others. So this is a comprehensive multidimensional task that we need to do. So and our space need to be secured by us. I mean, that was one. So I invited secretaries and ministers, so that and they all agreed that social science is very important, anthropologists are important, sociologists are important. But when they go to the secretariat, and when they make policies, they think that it is only doctors who need to be invited in their table. So this is one scenario that needs to be changed. So I think that we need to change it. Nobody will change it. The policy, if you think that policymakers will realize it, and then they will invite you and send you a kind of a vehicle that you come to our place and let's listen to you. It will not going to happen. You need to raise your voice, and you need to give them an impression that your voice is important, and you have a role to play in the society as a social scientist or as an anthropologist. So I think this has been started. I mean, we already have spoken to many people, and they had started admitting it that the voice of social scientists are important, particularly when this scale. I mean, it is a pandemic, it's a societal thing, it's a global thing. So it's like so nobody. I mean, without social scientists or without the knowledge of social science, it is not really possible to, I mean, address this hugely important, I mean, issue like this pandemic. This affects your life, and people are dying. So you see that if social science knowledge is not there, you cannot just stop this. I mean, just biomedical intervention do not help here.
Thank you. My last question for the students, right? You know that this is the lecture series for historical development of anthropology in Asian countries. So the students from the different parts of the Asia, they are joining. So they are here, and also I will distribute this recording to the different parts of the Asian the Department of Anthropology as well. So my last question from the student point of view, that what is the opportunity for the students or undergraduate, postgraduate, and PhD students if they want to study anthropology, they want to come to Bangladesh. So what are the different kind of opportunities you can offer, or the different departments and government can offer to these particular students? So this is my last question.
Thank you, Shuman. This is one question I really like to answer. That we are we always welcome anyone. In Bangladesh, we have got, as I already mentioned, that we have got the largest NGO in the world, which name is BRAC. They host internship program for last, say, 20-30 years, and there is a public health program where they host almost students from 24-25 countries every single year. So Bangladesh is a host of students for many years. Although it's not like India or like US, it's not that big. It's a small population, but I like to mention that it's there. I mean, already right now when we are talking, you will find at least 4,000 or 5,000 foreign students in Bangladesh, who work in many with many NGOs and universities, with many universities. So we always welcome here, but the anthropological opportunities, if you really, we don't have a kind of a funder or donor who fund anthropological studies here, like Fulbright or anybody, I mean, or SSRC. We have got a local SSRC, Social Science Research Council, in the Ministry of Planning. They give a small funding, and University Grants Commission gives some small funding. But we do not have those big funders like IDRC or someone who can host anthropological research in Bangladesh. But we can say that if you can manage a kind of a small funding from any other sources, our universities and research organizations, they welcome international, I mean, researchers, colleagues, and students in there. For example, all university has got their guest houses to host. I mean, the researchers, and in the INGOs and NGOs, they have got their own kind of a facilities to host. So we like to host. This Bangladesh is a country of our hospitality is known by this by now, that we like to host people, no matter how we can. I mean, what is the I mean, if it is a very sophisticated hosting or not, that we don't know, but we like to host people. So it is also true to the researchers. I mean, anybody comes to Bangladesh, we try to help them out with our level best. And but if you want to know what are the funding opportunities here, what are the specific housing opportunities here, probably I'll not have much to say. But once you are here, we have got this relatively geographically small country, as you know, and you can travel from one corner to another corner by a day. I mean, you can, if you start from Dinajpur to Dhaka, it will take just, it will take 12 hours. Not, you can travel from one part to another part by 12 hours in this country. So this is one interesting thing that you will see. So if you study, say for example, in Borishal, but if you want to present in Dhaka, so you can do it in one day. I mean, so it is possible. And our intercity flights are developing. I mean, we have got 5 or 6 cities where internal local flights are there. So it's not a difficult country as you think that Bangladesh should be a difficult country to work. I don't think that's true anymore. I mean, it's you can plan for any field work or any kind of collaborative work in Bangladesh. I can just say one last thing, that since if you are interested in health research, ICDDRB is one of the global center that is located in Bangladesh. If you think about some of the, I mean, learning from the village thing, kind of a sort of thing, BRAC is here. And of course, Dhaka University is one of the oldest university, which was established in 1921 and hosting so many researchers over here. So we have got 87 universities right now, public, and we have got another 138 private universities. So if you see about the geographically located ratio, probably it is the most densely portioned university-wise country in the globe. So if you see geography-wise, but population-wise, probably it's not, because we have got huge population. But we have got, geographically, we have a small country, and if you compare it with the universities, it is huge. So we have almost 300 universities here right now. So this is huge.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much. And this is the 10th lecture of our lecture series. We came across from Philippines, Malaysia, Bhutan, and Sri Lanka, and different countries, and everyone is very, very energetic, and they are trying to interact in between each others. And this platform obviously made one big bridge between the different anthropologies from Asian countries. So this is our very small approach, one kind of experiment we are doing. So it comes very, very good results specifically. So
Shuman,
on my side, is the question.
Yeah,
Yes,
not a
should-
question, actually a comment. Sir was saying that we are a very good host, and I agree to it, because I enjoyed the hosting of Bangladesh while I was doing my PhD. So I met Professor Mesbah Kamal sir and some of the professors in peace studies. So they helped me a lot, Professor Dalem Burman. And you were also talking about some of the NGOs. They have their very good guest house. When I visited Dinajpur, I was staying in one of the NGOs guest house. So, and I also stayed in Asiatic Society guest house. So there are the hosting facility is very good in Bangladesh. Fund facility should be arranged by yourself. Otherwise, there is yes, I think there is good opportunity to work in Bangladesh.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shushmita. When I say we are good hosts, that should not be a good approach, because a good host never say we are good host. I mean, you say, but I'm just, since it's just between us, so we just, I just said that.
Thank you very much.
You.
And now, if any other question for the participant, you can raise the questions, or any clarification, any comment, anything else you can share with us. May I ask Professor Joshi, you can put some comments on this, our program?
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, I think I really enjoyed listening to this lecture, and what our friend from Bangladesh said about that they do not have facilities for archaeological anthropology and physical anthropology, and of course linguistic anthropology as well, perhaps. Now, Northeast India, Bengal, and all those areas have been extensively studied by archaeological anthropologists. You had very special kind of prehistoric tools available from Northeast India. We have got many good archaeologists working in Shillong or in Guwahati, and including Nagaland also. We have got archaeologists now. I think Bangladesh should also be investigated by Northeast archaeologists, and to see how far there is a cultural continuity between the Northeast India and Bangladesh. After all, this is the same, prehistorically speaking, is the same land mass. So there will be a lot of similarities that we would be able to see in Bangladesh prehistory as well as in the Northeast prehistory. So there is a lot of scope there, and I think, like our friend has already said, that they are very good host. So some of these, researches can be collaborative researches between Northeast India and Bangladesh can be started. Now, because I am from Delhi University, so I can only say that we have recently got a chair which is called Bangabandhu Chair, which is a chair being given to the university, and this chair is also going to host, of course, anthropologists, geographer, or historians and others. So I think as far as Bangladesh and India is concerned, there is a lot of scope for collaborations in anthropology, and I think from a very long time, at least 40 years, there is a good tradition of collaboration, but this has to be intensified. I'm very glad to learn that there are nearly 300 universities in Bangladesh. In India, I know that there are 1,042 universities that we have. So Bangladesh is again, I accept that it's a very densely, has a very good density of the higher education, and that actually is reflected in the way Bangladesh is making progress day by day in terms of economy or in terms of intellectual outputs, and also, like giving new vision to the world. And I support Bangladesh and India anthropology collaborations in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank
sir.
you very much,
Thank
Professor.
you, sir.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much, Professor Joshi. Thank you, sir. It is a well-felt need that we need to collaborate more, because anthropologically speaking, we always say for collaboration, but practically we are not doing that very well. I mean, we have got that cross-border kind of issues to see and to research, and we have got so many other issues, since we see that politically in SARC did not work very well, but citizen wise we have got citizen relationship, and we need to hasten that relationship, and we need to explore more opportunities between India and Pakistan, because I mean India and Bangladesh, and also Pakistan. I mean, we see that when we see we talk about Bangladesh and India, we actually think that talking about Pakistan is kind of a taboo, but anthropologically speaking, we see that this kind of Asian anthropological tradition is very important. We also seeing Sri Lankan anthropologists are here, so we can think about a kind of an Asian anthropological tradition. The other day we have been talking with Professor Nestor Castro from University of Philippines, and he was also thinking about talking about that the anthropological the need for anthropological collaboration from that part of the world. I mean that they have got a huge kind of anthropological issues, but they don't really want we don't have to collaborate with those issues. But I understand that it's not easy to collaborate with everyone, but at least we can find out some important issues where we can have some cross-border collaboration. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ratna. Ratna, you can proceed because we just crossed 1 hour.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you, Professor AKM Mazharul Islam, sir. You gave us a lot of insight on various aspects of Bangladesh anthropology. Thank you so much, sir. I now request Dr. Taraka Ananda, ma'am, to give the vote of thanks. Taraka, ma'am, are you there?
Yes, thank you very much. First, I would like to tell one thing to sir. It's a great presentation and great discussion. Thank you very much for that. And let me give the vote of thank. First, I would like to thank Professor Mazharul Islam, Professor, Department of Anthropology, Sahajal, University of Science and Technology, Bangladesh, for the marvelous presentation about the historical development of anthropology in Bangladesh. And also my appreciation goes to the organizing committee of this lecture series, especially the coordinator, Dr. Suman Chakrabarti. Without his support, this lecture series will not be able to conduct. And also all the chair advisors and also joint conveners, Dr. Ratna Thain, Dr. Sushmita Sen Chowdhury. They were always behind us and they were always supporting us in organizing these lecture series. And also the members, Dr. Pushpadal Thatigga, Ms. Gopi Reba, Ms. Anushree Poli, Ms. Saswati Roy, and also the participant. Without the participant, this lecture series will not be able to organized in successful way. So all the professors that participated in our lecture series from all around the world and all the students and other participants and my dear colleagues, thank you very much for participating and listening to our lecture series. And finally, I would like to ask all of you and request all of you to join with us for our future endeavors as well. Thank you very much. Again, Mazharul sir, thank you very much for the nice presentation and joining with us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Thank you very
Tanaka.
much. We also like to extend our heartiest thanks and gratitude from Bangladesh. We are celebrating 50 years of our independence in Bangladesh. So I also like to share our heartfelt thanks to be a supporter of Bangladesh, particularly to the neighboring countries who has made this country a proud country within this long journey of 50 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I think one day we'll meet and do something great near future.
Yes, our heartfelt thanks also Professor P.C. Joshi, who has joined today. And hopefully in the coming time, the many anthropologists, they will come to join our lecture as because we are in the process to bring all the anthropologists, eminent anthropologists throughout the Asia who will come and to develop the anthropology in the future term, who can contribute the development of the society itself. So that in that particular visions, today I close this seminar.
Thank you.
Just need to be stopped first, then I will talk.
Thank you all. Thank you.